Have you ever found yourself hearing a weird sound? Something like a droning sound, a low rumbling diesel engine idling in the distance, a buzzing sound, a jet stream, the whir of a fan, a swarm of bees, or a cicada like this. Maybe the note of E flat for those from musical fields. And I'm not talking once or twice while going on a walk, I'm talking at night while you're alone in the dark. And if you have other people there, they aren't going to hear it type shit. If you didn't, that's fine. You are with the 98% of the population. But if you are from the unlucky 2%, be careful so the cops don't know about it. You don't want to get shot. But for real though, if you are constantly annoyed with a sound you can explain, maybe watch until the end. I'm going over the basic information about this weird phenomenon known as the hum. But even if you don't hear any weird sounds, you can still watch the video, even if just to learn about some new old mystery. Please enjoy either way. So, the first thing first, what the fuck am I yapping about? I'm talking about the hum, or the worldwide hum. It's a phenomenon where a small percentage of the population, under certain conditions, hear a weird humming sound. Hum just being a coverall term for a noise that can be heard but not identified easily, like I said in the intro. Stuff like a droning sound, or low rumbling diesel engine idling. This weird little mystery began getting traction in the 1990s with the reports from the Taos, New Mexico residents, where around 2% of the population, most ages 55 to 70, were being tormented by a constant sound, especially at night and in the early hours. This was so bad that in 1993 several of these people got together and petitioned Congress to investigate the noise, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We are going to talk about those in a minute. But first we are going to look at other reports of strange noises. Then we will look at the Taos one. One of the first reports of a humming was from Bristol, England, where in the 1970s hundreds of people started reporting a steady thumbing sound. The result was complaints to the local council. They later blamed it on vehicular traffic and local factories. Then we have Auckland, New England, Largs in Scotland, Frankfurt and Darmstadt in Germany, Bondi in Australia, St. Louis in Missouri, and Omagh in Northern Ireland. All of them had reports about these hum sounds. Some identified cases were, in the 1980s, Sausalito, California. The source of the hum was reported by residents was the mating call of the plainfin midshipman, which is a fish. In 2012, Borneo, the source of a loud snoring sound was a factory performing boiler system tests. In Kokomo, Indiana, the source was a fan and a compressor at an industrial site. But maybe the most well-known, not counting the Taos, is the 2011 case from Windsor, Ontario in Canada. This resulted in an investigation by Windsor University that pointed towards the heavily industrialized Zug Island from Detroit's southern city. The Windsor hum 35 Hz airborne sound wave emanating from the island. The cause couldn't be pinpointed because of the uncooperative nature of the US government and US Steel, which owned a plant there. But the sound stopped in 2020 when the plant closed. Now let's look at the most famous of the incidents, the Taos, New Mexico incident. A little background. Taos is a town best known for its artistic community. These include but are not limited to Julia Roberts, Dennis Hopper, T.H. Lawrence, Aldous Huxley, and Donald Rumsfeld. But since the 1990s, it became more infamous for the phenomenon known as the Taos Hum. Not going to repeat myself too much. You've got this low frequency droning sound that is only heard by a small percentage of the population. These people were hearing this sound mostly at night when there wasn't that much background noise. But as we all know, this is the worst time to be hearing a constant random distracting noise. This can cause a lot of health problems. Things like, but not limited to, anxiety, stress, sleep deprivation, nosebleed, headache, nausea, and fatigue. After some time, several people got together and petitioned Congress to investigate the noise. This resulted in a team of investigators being sent there 4 years later. This team was formed by some of the most prestigious research institutes in the nation. We've got the University of New Mexico, Sandia National Laboratories, Phillips Air Force Laboratory, and the Los Alamos National Laboratory. They tried using microphones and very low frequency antennas, but the hum wasn't picked up on those. So the cause of the low frequency noise remained a mystery. This lack of scientific answers led to many theories, some more believable than others. What is the logical source of something science can't explain? Aliens. Joking aside, even if some people thought aliens and extraterrestrial technology could be the answer, there are more believable theories out there, and I'm going to rapid fire through them real quick. Stuff like electromagnetic interference, EMI, that can be caused by modern technologies such as power lines, radio towers, or wireless communication devices. EMI can create low-frequency vibration that might be perceived as sound by sensitive individuals, but attempts to correlate those two were inconclusive. Low-frequency sound waves or infrasound could have been it, but that can be measured with specialized equipment, so it's a no. Seismic activities should be acknowledged, stuff like grinding of tectonic plates or underground water movements. These can create low-frequency vibrations, but they still raises some questions, like why only a few people can hear it and why are regions like Taos with little seismic activity such a hotspot. There are medical conditions like tinnitus and auditory sensitivity, but these have holes in them too. Tinnitus is a condition characterized by the perception of sound without an external source. But if this is the case, the reports would have been scattered, resulting in less of a cluster of people hearing the same thing in the same place. High auditory sensitivity enables people to hear low-frequency sounds, others cannot, so this could be it. But this doesn't answer the why only on these locations question. Another theory is trying to link the Hum with military experiments or some mass surveillance tech the government doesn't want you to know. This is in the same category as the aliens. Yeah, it sounds fun, but there isn't any evidence to support such a claim. Don't get me wrong, the government could do it, but I don't know if they do it. The problems that come with this, like I said previously, are real. Not counting the obvious one, the annoying random sound you can stop hearing. A lot of people that hear this Hum report symptoms like headache, nausea, fatigue, nosebleed, and sleep disturbances. And in one more extreme case, the Hum was linked to one suicide. This is in this article dated May 2009, where it is referenced twice without giving any more details about the case. Don't get me wrong, if what the hearers say about the Hum is true, I would not be surprised if the number is in the teens or hundreds. In the same article there is Katie Jacques, a retired head teacher that, for the last 2 years, at the time the interview was taken, has been hearing a dual drone sound. It has a rhythm to it. It goes up and down. It sounds almost like a diesel car idling in the distance. And you want to go and ask somebody to switch the engine off. And you can't. With this only happening in her home and no one else hearing it, it can get very annoying very quickly. Especially if you can't sleep properly. It's worse at night. It's hard to get off to sleep because I hear this throbbing sound in the background. And you know what's like when you can't get to sleep and you are tossing and turning and you get more and more agitated about it. But what can you do if you suffer from something like this? Well, for starters, I'm not a medical professional, so this can't and shouldn't be considered medical advice. The best would be to contact a professional. But this isn't always the first option. Be it because you are embarrassed, you think it's not a big deal, you can't really explain yourself properly, so you are afraid of getting misdiagnosed, or you live in a place with expensive healthcare and you literally can't pay, and any other justifications we create just to make ourselves feel less bad. The point is, you can't go to your local medical professional, so you go online. That's a risky move, but I think your safest bet would be humamap.wordpress.com. The blog is written by Dr. Glenn McPherson. You can pause and read the page if you want to know the basics of who he is. The TLDR is that he is an ethnographic researcher who began hearing the Hum in 2012. So he started the blog to gather the hearers in one place. I can't talk about him as a person or anything, but the blog has a lot of stuff. Being started in 2012 and getting updates as late as November 2024. The amount of information, theories, research and all that is there for you to read. Even if this doesn't help you resolve the problem, maybe you'll understand the phenomenon better. Look, I didn't claim to have all the answers. I just found the topic interesting and wanted to share some of my research. There is so much more to talk about with this subject. So I'm going to encourage you, the viewer, to look more into the subject if you are interested. The sources I used will be in the description if you want to take a look at them. But that's all from me. I hope you have a good rest of the day or night.